So she goes to a grave witch and is like, help me kill this guy. Like, can we just like, you know, like, hey, what's up? Hello, it's Katie Colson here. Welcome back to my channel. And today we're going to talk about all the books that I want to read for the month of July. Now, the first thing I want to say, you already know. I know you've been asking. I know you've been asking on Patreon, on Discord, on Instagram, on YouTube comments. Yes, I will be participating in Summerween. Now, here's the problem. I am not going to be participating in most of the prompts because for some reason I just like cannot get things to fit with these prompts. And it's not the prompt's fault. It's just that anything that I've been wanting to read or even like own don't fit those prompts. So I am going to be reading a book in the dark, probably more than one. I am going to be baking or making a spooky treat to go along with my spooky reads. And of course, all of the books are going to be spooky. They're going to be horror or thriller mystery. So I'm going to be participating, but to make it up for not doing the prompts or all of them, I am going to try, underline on try, to daily vlog. I'm going to try to daily vlog. At the very least, I want to have 3 vlogs. So like 2, like maybe 3, 2 and 2, something like that. But I want to daily vlog. Now, I want to put the expectation low because I do have a full-time job other than Patreon and Discord and YouTube. So that's hard, but I want to do it. I want to do that for y'all. And I want to do it for me because I love Summerween. And if you don't know, Summerween is a readathon hosted by my dear friends, Gabby and Olivia, who are like amazing. Like, hello. But they do this. This is like a couple years running. And actually Summerween was the first content that I ever created that really got traction for me and like had people commenting and starting conversations with me. And I met so many people through those videos and I met Gabby through those videos. And then it wasn't until like Winterween, I think, that I ended up conversing with Olivia and we became friends. So these Ween vlogs mean a lot to me. I absolutely love them. And I'm someone who absolutely loves spooky reads. Like I love horror. I love mystery thrillers. That's like my main genre. So for me, this is just really niche and I fit really well into this readathon. So I'm sure we're gonna have an amazing time. Now, I am gonna mention quite a few mystery thrillers that I'm hoping to work into that week, but regardless, I want to read them this month. So without further ado, let's get to the first book. Book number 1, I actually just started reading and I'm on page 30, but we're on June 30th. So this is going to count for July. Obviously, I won't finish it today, but this is Europa Buena by Nina LaCour, and this is Nina LaCour's first adult novel. I read one of her YA novels and absolutely loved it. Oh wait, have I read 2? I think I've read 2 of her YA novels, and I really enjoy them, both of which have been sapphic, and this is said to be a sapphic star-crossed lovers story. So as far as I read on the summary, it's very vague. It says that it's about these 2 girls who meet at this restaurant and have an immediate connection. But then due to like past traumas and their old lives, they keep breaking them apart, but then they keep finding each other again, and then it's breaking them apart and bringing them together. And as far as I know, this is what I'm gonna say. This cover looks so cute and like, oh my God, it's a restaurant. Like, oh my God, it's like cute. It's like baking and cozy. No. The first 30 pages of this is already so dark. So dark. Like, I was like, is this a villain origin story? Like, the fuck? But like, I'm loving it so far. I will say it is not reading adult, but I'm thinking the reason it's not reading adult is I believe that as of the 30 pages I've read so far, we're reading from this girl's past and that then she'll be an adult later on. That's my assumption. I hope. I pray. But yeah, so far I'm really liking it and I will definitely be reading this in July. The audiobook that I just got, so I'm definitely reading it this month. I just don't know when. Like, I'm trying to hold off until winter or Summerween, but I don't know if I can. And that's The Island by Adrian McKinty. And I actually heard Ashley from Ashley's Little Library talking about this and saying it was really good. And I really enjoy books that she recommends, especially mystery thrillers. So this book, while I will say the cover is something I would never pick up because it looks like it's gonna be bad, the summary, okay, this is about a family vacation gone horribly wrong. So we're following our main character, Heather, who has recently married Tom. Tom, who has 2 children of his own, a young son and a teenage daughter. Now, desperate to win their approval, which the kids want nothing to do with her, Heather kind of plans this family vacation on a remote island. You see where this is going. Okay, when they get to the remote island, the locals have completely different plans, and then Tom disappears, and now there's like people out for them, okay? Like there's murderers on the loose. And it's Heather's sole responsibility to not only save herself, but save these 2 children. And the thing about the summary that gets me is it says that the things that she has to do to save them are unbelievable. And I was like, is this gonna be, I know it's not horror, but like, what if? One of my most anticipated reads for the second half of the year, Nettle and Bone by T. Kingfisher. I loved T. Kingfisher's book, The Hollow Places. Like, I freaking loved it. So I'm really hoping that this is gonna be a new favorite author. Also, I'm obsessed with this book. Like, it's so pretty. I gotta just read this little blurb on the back. This isn't the kind of fairy tale where the princess marries a prince. It's the one where she kills him. I love it. Okay, so this is like a dark fairy tale. So this is about a girl named Mara, and she is just fed up because for years and years, basically her entire life, her and her sisters have been reigned over and abused and ruled by this tyrannous prince. So she wants to put an end to it. She's sick of it. So she goes to a grave witch and is like, help me kill this guy. Like, can we just like, you know, like, but the witch is like, yeah, sure, sis, I'm totally here for you. Actually, I'll help you. But to do it, you have to complete 3 impossible tasks. But the funny thing is the grave witch is like, but I'm here, let's go. Like, I got my bag on, let's leave. So they leave, and then they come encounter and are followed along by a reluctant fairy godmother, a strapping former knight, and the creme de la creme, a chicken who's been possessed by a demon. Listen, if anybody else said that, I'd be like, the fuck? But T. Kingfisher says it? Sis, I'm on board. I'm on board, okay? And this group of people are trying to complete these tasks so that they can all have a hand in putting a hand around the prince's throat and squeezing the life out of him because they all want him dead that bad. And like, this sounds like a feminist retelling, and I'm fucking here for it. This book has, okay, listen, I already know that one of my patrons sent me this book. I already know that they did, but it hasn't shown up yet, and it said it was sent on like June 18th or something. So like, riddle me that, what's happening? Anyway, the book is Ordinary Monsters by J.M. Miro, and I am so excited to read this. Like, Aaron is the one who put me onto the audiobook, and just go listen to the audiobook sample. That guy's voice is doing things to us. Not just me, he's doing things to everyone. Not just women, men, everybody. Literally his voice. I'm gonna go look up his backlist. He has to have narrated other shit. But oh my God, when I tell you it sounds so good. Okay, listen, here's the thing. I'm going to listen to it this month, even if I don't end up getting the physical book this month. Because like, I want to just buy it for myself, but then I'll feel bad if I buy it for myself and somebody has already got it for me. Do you see what I'm saying? Anyway, this is the prettiest cover of the year, for starters. But also, we're set in Victorian England, and we're following a group of kids who have these supernatural powers, and they're called the Talents, and they all form and gather at this like school called the Institute. But the problem is, the second that our 2 main characters show up at this school, there's kind of like threats of the future and traumas of the past that are like clawing their way into this institute, and it comes to a point where the world of the living and the world of the dead are threatening to collide, and these kids have to try to stop that from happening. And apparently it's part of a series, and like, it sounds so grim, dark X-Men, and that is such my vibe. I know. Katie, who do you think you are? Why are you gonna read this book? 1,000 Boy Kisses by Tilly Cole. Because I've heard so many people say such amazing things about this book, and even people who like don't normally read romance. And listen, some romances hit. Sometimes they be hitting, okay? And if they can make me cry, I'm there. And I think Tana from Hannah's Recent Reads, I'm pretty sure she's the one who I heard talking about this book that made me want to get it. But this is about these 2 kids, Rune and Poppy, which like, the name Poppy, while super cute, is honestly so overused right now in the literary genre. Like, good Lord. Anyway, we're following these 2 characters, and when they were younger, they were each other's first love, and they thought that it would last forever until Rune has to unexpectedly move to Norway, and he thinks they're going to keep in touch. They're going to have a long distance romance because he's just so in love with her. But then suddenly, after he moves, she just cuts communication entirely and doesn't hear a peep from her. So 2 years later, when he moves back to their small town in Georgia, he comes across her and he discovers the real reason why she stopped writing. And apparently it's a heartbreak that he could never have imagined. And I've just heard so many people say that this book is so good and so sad. And honestly, I'm here for the ride. For my birthday, Amy, or Tinted Crimson, as she is on Patreon and Discord and Instagram, she so lovingly gifted me an audiobook for Salems Lot, and I didn't even ask for it. She was just like, listen, it's vampires and it's Stephen King. Get on it, sis. So I was like, oh my God, Summerween's coming up. Maybe I'll read this for Summerween. Like, oh, we'll see. But this is Salem's Lot by Stephen King, and literally the summary is like 2 sentences. It's hilarious. It literally just says that it's about a man and a boy who have this like traumatized past in Salems Lot, and then they have to go back to Salems Lot, to this town, to finally confront the evil that's still running rampant in this town. And I've heard, like, some of the reviews I was looking at were people saying, like, this is not brooding, this is not mysterious, this is not emo, this is not dark, this is just blood-sucking monsters. This is vampires at their bloodiest and at their goriest and at their prime. And I'm like, yes, give it to me. Like, I love a good vampire story. Listen, I love a vampire blood-sucking story. I love a blood-sucking romance. I love, like, the broody vampire. I love all vampires. All vampires. So hopefully I'll get this one read in July for Summerween. Someone sent me the audiobook for How to Be Eaten by Maria Alderman. Sorry, I have the summary right here because it's so interesting, and I was like, I can't do this credit on its own, so I'm just gonna read it off here. But somebody sent me the audiobook and it didn't say who it was, but no, sorry, it said Jalen, but then I couldn't find a Jalen anywhere. So if you're watching this, Jalen, thank you so much. But this summary, let me read it to you. It says, in present day New York City, 5 women slash princesses meet in a basement support group to process their traumas. Now, the reason it's women slash princesses is because it's retellings of fairy tales, but told in a realistic point of view. So it says it takes our coziest, most beloved childhood stories and exposes them as anti-feminist nightmares, and then forms them into a new kind of myth for grown-up women. And I don't understand why this only has 400 ratings on Goodreads, because this sounds like something we should all be reading. I am so excited about this one. This is Blood Sugar by Sasha Rothschild, and this was sent to me by Megan Ray, and I'm so excited. Like, she told me that this has diabetic representation, and I thought that it was the main character that has it, but then somebody else commented and said, no, her husband has type 1 diabetes, but they said that they felt like it was represented really well, and I never read representation about diabetes. Like, literally ever, and if I do, it's always terrible. So I'm so excited to read this. Not only for that, but for the plot. You just wait for the plot. But I'm like, I want to get to this so soon, and the chapters are so short that I'm like, God, I want to physically read this so bad. I think this is going to be my next. After I finish House of Leaves, however long that takes, I'm going to read this. But okay, so we're following this character named Ruby. And of the 4 murders that she has experienced in her life, she's only guilty of 3 of them. But funny enough, she's being accused of the 4th one in which she did not commit, which is her husband, Jason. Now, the police are determined to find her guilty. And basically, we open this book with Ruby in an interrogation room, and she's sitting there reflecting on all the choices that she's made in her life that has led her to this moment and the 3 bodies left in her wake. Does that not sound like the absolute tits? Like, that just sounds so fucking good. I'm only planning on reading the first one, but I'm definitely a binger when it comes to series, so I might end up reading all of them. But I have 3 volumes of Monster by Naoki Urasawa, and these are thick boys. Like, these are freaking chunky boys. Actually, I'm gonna set these 2 down. Okay, so since this is the one that I'm actually planning on reading. Now, I've heard quite a few people say this is like their favorite manga, and we love to hear it because I want to get more into manga, so I need recommendations. Okay, so we're following a surgeon named Tenma, and he is like one of the most brilliant surgeons in the city, and he really prides himself on like right and wrong and always putting the patient first. But one day, that prideful personality bites him in the ass when he forces to save this heartless monster who ends up growing up to be this ravenous serial killer, and he's just taking the world by storm, killing all these women. And since Tenma is the only one who can identify him because he knows it's the same person, and I don't remember in the summary like how he knows that this guy's a serial killer, but he does, and he saves his life anyway. And because Tenma is the one who can recognize him and point the finger at him with the police, he unwillingly is brought into this murderer's game, and anyone he loves is also brought in. So it's like he's kind of running for his life, but then also kind of trying to catch him. And I've just heard such good things about this, and I can't wait to read it and see if I also adore it. I actually have a backlist title from an author I previously mentioned, which is Adrian McKenty, and that is The Chain. Now, I have heard so many things about this, and not necessarily like 5 stars, but so many people saying that it's such an intriguing, fast-paced thriller. So this is about kind of a game where a mom will be contacted and said, I have your kid, and if you want your kid back, you're gonna pay this ransom, and you're gonna go kidnap this kid. So this other kid, okay. But here's the thing. the mom of that kid that's about to get kidnapped is told the same thing. And then the woman whose kid gets kidnapped by that woman's mom is told the same thing. And on and on and on and on it goes. And whoever's doing this is like making a bunch of money. But the thing is, they know that a mother will do anything to save her kid. So the kidnapping, apparently, is just the kicking off point. And I am fucking excited. I feel like even Kayla said this was like such a fun time. And this is actually my coworker's copy. She read this. She said she read it in 2 days and she was like, Katie has got to read this. And like, listen, I love when people say that. The next 4 I have kind of just now decided to add because I purchased them recently or received them recently for my birthday. So I'm adding them on, but I am going to be reading off the back. Sorry about it. This one I purchased like a couple weeks ago. It was a pre-order and I just got it in the mail today. It is We Can Never Leave This Place by Eric LaRocca. Like, this is fucking stunning. I'm obsessed. And I just love Eric LaRocca. Love him. This is my 3rd book that I'll have read from him. And it says, when you're given a gift, something else gets taken away. A precocious young girl with an unusual imagination is sent on an odyssey into the depths of depravity. I just love this guy so much. Are you kidding me? After her father dies violently, young Mara is surprised to find her mother welcoming a new guest into their home, claiming that he will protect them from the world of devastation and destruction outside their door. A grotesque and thrilling dark fantasy. I'm fucking down. I will read it. Eric LaRocca, punch me in the throat. Okay, and then we have The Perfect Child by Lucinda Berry. I have been recommended this book by several people, and I love the way it feels. I love it. I've heard that if you like the push, then you'll really like this. So, it says, for eager adoptive parents, getting what they always wanted has chilling consequences. Christopher and Hannah are happily married, surgeon and nurse with picture-perfect lives. All that's missing is a child. When Janie, an abandoned 6-year-old, turns up at their hospital, Christopher forms an instant connection with her and he convinces Hannah they should take her home as their own. But Janie is no ordinary child, and her damaged psyche proves to be more to her new parents than they were expecting. Janie is fiercely devoted to Christopher, but she acts out in increasingly disturbing ways, directing all her rage at Hannah. Definitely getting the push vibes. Unable to bond with Janie, Hannah is drowning under the pressure, but Christopher refuses to see Janie's true nature. I fucking swear to God. The husbands in these books always piss me off. Hannah knows that Janie is manipulating Christopher and isolating him from her. Oh, this kind of sounds like The Orphan now. Despite Hannah's attempts to bring them all together, but as Janie's behavior threatens to tear Christopher and Hannah apart, the truth behind Janie's past may be enough to push them all over the edge. Okay, the one thing I don't want this girl, Hannah, to get pregnant and have another baby because I feel like every time a book starts like this, that's always how it goes. But I'm excited to read it. A lot of people said, I'm gonna love it. This one, I don't know about. I don't know. I'm gonna give it a shot. I'm gonna give it a shot. I'm gonna give it a shot. I want to do this one for winter read. It says it's Natasha Preston's, aka Wattpad sensation, Natasha Preston, The Seller, #1 New York Times bestseller. And I'm like, I'm scared. Somebody sent this to me in the mail. Who sent this to me in the mail? Ariel Bibbins, I swear to God. Okay, what did she say? She said, love you and your energy. Please give your thoughts on this book. It's creepy and love to have your input. Okay, so the back is just an excerpt of the book. It says, Lily, my stomach dropped as a tall, dark-haired man. I can't read this with a straight face. Watch me love this book. That's what's hilarious. A dark-haired man stepped into view. Had he been hiding between the trees? No, sorry. Gulping, I took a step back. I'm not Lily. He shook his head, a satisfied grin on his face. No, you are Lily. I'm Summer. You have the wrong person. You utter freak. I could hear my pulse crashing in my ears. How stupid to give him my real name. He continued to stare at me, smiling. It made me feel sick. You are Lily, he repeated. Before I could blink, he threw his arms forward and grabbed me. I tried to shout, but he clasped his hand over my mouth, muffling my screams. My heart raced. I'm going to die. For months, Summer is trapped in a cellar with the man who took her and 3 other girls, Rose, Poppy, and Violet, his perfect, pure flowers, his family. But flowers that can't survive long, cut off from the sun, and time is running out. This is a Wattpad story, so I'm assuming she gonna fuck him, is my assumption. Listen, I'm gonna give it a shot, okay? I'm gonna give it a shot. Let's move on to something light and fluffy. The last book, Legends and Lattes, by Travis Baldry. Now, this is like just a short little book. I don't think it's a series. I think it's a standalone. And I bought it because Erin said that it was absolutely phenomenal and that she would suggest reading it physically. And I just snatched that shit up. So it says, worn out after decades of packing steel and raising hell, Viv, the orc barbarian, cashes out the warrior's life with one final score. A forgotten legend, a fabled artifact, and an unreasonable amount of hope lead her to the streets of Thune, where she plans to open the first coffee shop the city has ever seen. Cute. However, her dreams are a fresh start, pulling shots start pulling shots instead of swinging swords are hardly a sure bet. Old frenemies and Thune's shady underbelly may just upset her plans to finally build something that will last. Viv will need some new partners and a different kind of resolve. A hot cup of fantasy slice of life with a dollop of romantic froth. That is so cute. And each chapter has like a little pastry. It's so cute. Look at this cover, like it's freaking sweet. Erin said that she was guaranteed this would make me smile, and I trust her with my heart and soul. So thank you, Erin. Thank you the most. If you have gotten to this far in the video, let's actually leave the coffee or like the espresso emoji. That would be so cute. Or if there's a certain pastry on the emojis you love, you could leave that. I want to thank you so much for joining, for watching, for subscribing if you have, for liking this video if you have. If there's any of the books that I have listed that you really, really, really need me to get to in July that you think I'll love, please let me know down below. If there's any books I didn't mention that you really think I need to get my hands on, also let me know that down below because it does bump things up on my list. I'm so excited to be joining y'all hopefully in weekly or hopefully for daily vlogs in Summerween, and all of that to say, I hope you're having an amazing day, evening, night, dusk, dawn, whatever it is you're having in whatever part of the world you're having it in. And I will see you in a video coming very soon. Bye.